ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay. Any questions, clarifications on what we have done up to now, or it's all clear? Yeah? Yeah, shoot. Yeah. Yeah. Little bit here and there, yeah. But that will be a problem with all translations, You always need an explanation. It's not exact translation, not possible, Unless you're trying, see, when you're trying to translate, you're trying to keep one word, a word each. But it doesn't always work because Sanskrit is such a precise and pliable language. At the same time, in English you'll have to use a few words to explain it. But that is one of the hassles that happen. From any language to any language will happen. Yeah, we'll require that. There is a very funny translation that happened. There is a biblical expression. The spirit is strong but the flesh is weak. Meaning that as a human spirit we are strong people. But our bodies, etc., cannot always match up to that spirit and therefore we may make mistakes. This is the idea. It's an idiomatic expression. This was translated into Russian. And then somebody else translated it back into English. And you know what it came out? The vodka is great, but the meat is rotten. So, those are the hassles of translation, okay? You can't avoid it, what to do. That's why I always advise my students to pick up a little bit of Sanskrit. So that if the meaning is not entirely fitting in, you will understand that, Yeah. So I think we did the 19th verse last time, right? The 19th we have done. Out of section 10, on the 10th verse of the Dakshinamurti Stotram and the 19th verse of Sureshwara's commentary on it. Okay. Now, going further, okay, he says. So up to now everything clear, right? No doubts, nothing, because it's simple verses. Yeah. There's nothing much to be said about them. Yeah. Sotrametat pate dhiman sarvatmatvam cha bhavaye avarchine sprha muktva phale swargadi sambhave. Now he is telling you what to do, how to go about it. Those who want their nishtha, etc. Okay. Strotram etat pate dhiman. The buddhiman thinker. This stotram patet, regularly study this stotra. Not just chant, unless your Sanskrit is good. Sanskrit is good, and when you chant it, immediately all the teaching comes to you. Okay? Dhiman patet. For what? Sarvatmatvam cha bhavayet. To gain the nishtha and the idea that I am everything. I am that consciousness which is the base for everything. For that sake, bhavayet. Etat dhiman patet. Okay. How? Avarchine sprha muktva. Okay. Avarchine phale sprha muktva. Free from the karma, free from your desire for karma phalam. Swargadi sambhave, of swarga, etc. Now, Swamiji, I don't have desire for swarga. Only I want one more house. Okay. Okay, now here is where so look at this. it's always a bit dicey in life when you make a statement like this. Okay? The idea is to contemplate on this without other desires. So if you are saying this to sannyasis, no problems. No big deal. You are taken to a life of sannyasa because you are moksha, nothing else. और कुछ चाहिए नहीं. हाँ, you have some basic things, some food, some clothes, basic to survive. Okay, now being a sannyasi teacher requires something else also. Okay, a phone, a laptop, net connection, etc. Okay, otherwise how will all this thing take place? Like before the camp I have to make arrangements for a laptop, so that a camp, the whole thing, I have to see everyone on the thing to teach, because you're going to do a in-depth in the camp. So, alright, little bit more you need in today's life. Olden days you could sit under a tree and teach. No problems. Okay. So basic. So you don't have great desires anyway, and desires are not meant for you. You don't need it. It's only meant for some function. So there is no issue. The issue comes with householder students, grahasthas, your students. You are bound to have some desires. You can't live a life of a grahastha and say, I don't have desires. You are into self-denial. Okay. Then you will try to justify it saying, it's not for me, but for the sake of my family. It's okay if you have desires. Tell them that. Tell yourself you have it. I know. Nothing wrong in it. What's wrong? As I always say, only human beings can have desires. A cow cannot decide whether it wants a cutlet or an omelette for breakfast. Only you and I can desire that. So it's okay to have desires. That is why the whole idea of Karma Yoga Buddhi has come in. The attitudes of Karma Yoga are meant to manage your desires. Therefore, live a life of Karma Yoga and do the same thing. You are neutralizing your desires anyway. You are growing out of your desires anyway. So it's okay. Until a time will come when desires get reduced to preferences. Then there is no hassle at all. Then there is no hassle at all about that. Just preferences, Baba. What difference does it make? Okay. Therefore, Swargadi Phalam, Swargadi Sambhave is an indication, because how does desires go in human mind? Born, you are happy just to survive. Have some caregivers to take care of you. Just survive. You are happy. Then as you live slowly, because of media, because of socialization, etc., desires come up in you. And of course your sense of finitude, avidya based. So generally how will it be? Better. First what? Arey, काम मिलना है यार. I want a job, a career. Then a small house. Somewhere, no? Within 1 hour of commuting to my place, okay. Then after some time, it will become better locality. Now I have a desire that people will mute their mics, so that we can all hear properly. What to do? Students also put desires into your mind. Then you look for locality. First is just a simple house. Then if it is South Bombay, etc., you want it right. Pedder Road, Nepean Sea Road, or Pali Hill, and things like that. Why? Because, hey, that shows you have arrived. Somebody has not arrived to the class yet. They are only physically present. Who is the person whose mic is on? I'll have to help them by offing their mic, I think. Can't find that here. Okay. I don't want to waste time on that. Okay. Anyway. So, alright, then what? immigrate to a better place, priority immigration by investing, etc. So what is better than that? Some people think, no, I go to states. Half of India wants to go to states anyway. Nah, states lifestyle is not very good. Vancouver is a better place. Or maybe Norway or Sweden or something better. Whatever. Better. It's always a question of better. Then what? You want better than whatever is there on earth? Go to heaven. So, the question is how far you can keep on what you call improving. How long are you keep on thinking of improving, etc. How long can you go? Highest is what? Heaven इत्यादि. उसका बाद क्या करेगा? Desire is not a problem. It's a symptom of your sense of finitude. Therefore, directly take care of that. No? Okay, let me see if I can find her on this. Okay, but on this thing I don't have a way of muting her. Okay, I think she's with a laptop or something, and this doesn't give me an option of muting that. Yeah, most people have their mics on and I can mute or unmute them, but here that is not feasible. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, please say just mute your mic because there's too much of noise. Yeah. So this is where the issue comes in, that desires are inevitable, and unless my desires are managed, it is difficult to have Sarvatma Bhava. It will be difficult to have that nishtha in the fact that I am Ananda. Now with the teaching you get insights, and therefore it becomes easier because you know, all said and done, you are Ananda. You may not, but at the same time, a strong desire means what? You think that you will get Ananda when you are fulfilling that. So here is where we make a small change in our attitude. We make a small change in our attitude. What is that? Getting that will not make me more Ananda. Listen to this carefully. Getting that is not going to increase my Ananda or this thing. It will only help manifest the Ananda that I already am. It will only help manifest the Ananda that I already am. So when you think of it like that, your function, your karma of working towards the desire, having the desire and the karma of working towards the desire is not contradictory to the teaching, the insight that you had. Otherwise, it's very contradictory. Teaching is your Ananda, and what is your desire saying? When I get that, I'll become Ananda. Whereas here, we have made the shift in attitude. I'm Ananda, all right. Getting that will only help manifest it better. That's all. Which is true. Any object of desire only manifests the Ananda that you are. Therefore, this attitude is not in contradiction with the teaching. So you can still work for that object of desire without a problem, without it contradicting the teaching. Of course, keeping in mind Ishwararpanam, Prasada Buddhi, etc., that helps you manage it even better. Are you getting what I am saying? Or it's not clear? It's clear, okay. So, this is how you live a household, a grahastha's life, and manage the whole thing also. Then moksha is not far off for anyone. Yeah? Okay? Arvachine, free from, yeah. Or, okay. Sorry, Arvachine means to constantly contemplate on it. Yeah. Uninterrupted, this thing. Achine, yeah. Day and night you contemplate on it. Spruham muktva, okay. So there is where the whole thing goes, yeah. Now, Prasanga Vashat, again he is giving you this verse. Swargadi Rajyam Samrajyam Manute Nahi Panditaha Sadaiva Tasya Samrajyam Yettu Savrajyam Atmani. Panditaha Nahi Manute, a scholar, someone who studied Vedanta, of course, doesn't hold Swargadi Rajyam as Samrajyam. The kingdom of heaven, etc. He doesn't take it as a great kingdom. Okay, theek hai, rehne do. For heaven-going religions is different. It's kingdom of heaven, etc. They are all heaven-going religions. But for a pandita, for a person who's well versed in Vedanta, what kingdom of heaven? What are you talking about? Theek hai. You can keep your kingdom. You can keep your kingdom, not interested. Not interested. Yeah. Supposing you die before you can gain this knowledge, would you not like to take a break in heaven? No. I will not like to take a break in heaven. Why? I am keen to get this knowledge, so I would prefer to be reborn next day itself. Even then I'll have to wait 15 years, no? So, even going is not wanted. We don't want a holiday there. Yeah. Because Sarvagadi Rajyam Samrajyam Manute Nahi Pandita. Tadeva Tasya Samrajyam. Then what is the Samrajyam? Yattu Swarajyam Atmani. Atmani Swarajyam, he says. The kingdom of the self, of yourself. That is your Swarajyam. Sasya Rajyam, Swarajyam. What is that? Atmani. You're the Lord of everything you survey, as long as you're rooted in the self. That is Swarajyam. Of course, Swarajyam has gained different context. In the light of the independence movement, when Tilak declared, Swaraj is my birthright, he said, Of course, it's a birthright, but nobody is going to give it to you. You have to work for it. Nobody is going to give it to you. You have to struggle hard for it in the external world. Similarly, Atma Swarajyam also, it's available to everyone, pending discovery. Pending discovery. All you have to do is learn. All you have to do is learn, nothing else. Yeah, nothing else. Manage your desires. Take care of Viveka, Vairagya, etc. It's not a big thing. It looks like a big thing when you start off. But really speaking, it happens on the way. It's easy. Yeah, it is easy. Enjoy the journey and keep your commitment going. It's important to have that commitment. Okay? The problem is people keep it going without commitment. People keep it going without commitment. There is where the hassle comes. Commitment doesn't mean that you cannot, skip here and there. Sometimes it happens because work calls, your responsibility is called, all that is fine. All that is fine. Yeah. But are you getting most of it? Are you getting most of it? If that much you can ensure, you are fine. That much you can ensure, you are fine. Yeah. Like, for example, some people are coming in late today. It's okay, understandable. They have some work commitments which they have to take care of. That's fine. That happens. But you are committed enough to, okay, even if late, you will come. Yeah, that's good. That's good to show that. Okay. Therefore, he says, Atma Swarajyam. Exactly. See, these are all verses which is meant to inspire you. Okay. Yeah. You are the Lord of all you survey. Once you are rooted in the self. You are the Lord of all that you don't survey also. Okay. Yeah. Why? Because nothing exists apart from you anyway. That understanding has to be clear. Then there is no issue. Okay. Then he is giving you another Arthavada verse. Sarvatma bhavanavantam sevante sarvasiddhayah tasmad atmani samrajyam kuryad niyatamanasah. Tricky verse, okay? Sarvatma bhavanantam. Okay? Once you are contemplating on yourself as everything, okay? Sevante sarva siddhaya. All siddhis come to you. They serve you, he says. Tasmat atmani samrajyam. Therefore, atma samrajyam. Kuryat niyatamanasah. With your mind, mastered mind, contemplate on the self. All siddhis also will come to you. Arthavada, exaggeration. Why? Because siddhis, what do you want siddhis for? Siddhi is an accomplishment. Why do you want any accomplishment in life? One, it makes you happy, and you have a healthier self-opinion. Your self-esteem gets a boost. Hey, I had done it. I could do this. God's grace was there, but I could do this. You have a healthier, better self-esteem. Any siddhi, any accomplishment. Siddhi, now let us take it more globally, not just the Ashta Siddhis. Any accomplishment, whether you are the CEO of a company, accomplishment, whether you are a great cook, accomplishment, a great singer, accomplishment, a great cricketer, accomplishment. Everything is an accomplishment. A great parent, one of the most important accomplishments. Takes a lot of time and effort, it's not easy. So all these are accomplishments. All that make you feel good about yourself. How much? Relatively good about yourself. And if you discover your Ananda, non-different from Ishvara, etc., how much good will it make you feel? Your self-esteem has got no limits after that. Even though your functioning is very matter of fact. In fact, matter of fact functioning shows the self-esteem is healthy. Amanitvam, Adambitvam, etc. are vibhutis, glories, ornamental. They are not necessary anymore, but they remain ornamental with you once you know the truth. I hope you remember what is Amanitvam, Adambitvam, etc. Okay? You will remember that? What is that? Huh? What is Amanitvam, Adambitvam? Where did it come? Okay. Not bad. Okay. At least people are remembering where it is. I'm sure they remember what it is also. But as a teacher, sometimes I have to check up, So, these qualities which are meant for a student become natural for a wise person. Doesn't have to cultivate them. When I am that pure consciousness which is the basis for everything, in what accomplishment I am going to take a pride in? It all falls short of what I am. It all falls short of what I am. Anything in the world will fall short only. That's why Arjuna says in the Gita, you make me the Lord of three heavens, the three worlds. It is short of what I really want. So he says that's the thing. Okay? Therefore, what is you hope to achieve by those accomplishments? Far more is achieved by Atma Jnana. Far more is achieved by Atma Jnana. But Swamiji, it will be nice to know anything, not just to look, close your eyes and look at something and you will know it. Isn't it so nice? Why do you want to know anything anyway? Where does your inquisitiveness come from? Because you are that pure consciousness. Since you don't know that, you want to be that. And the only way you know how to be that, it's manifested as your inquisitiveness. That's why everyone wants to know. They may not want to go to a college and get a PhD, but they'll definitely want to watch the TV and know what is happening in Sushant Singh case. Utna curiosity everybody has. Why? Because I want to know. Why? Because really speaking, you are the source of all knowledge. The consciousness manifests in the mind that becomes knowledge. No? If you don't know that, you will seek it. And once you know that, you will be happy with your ignorance. Because there will be always a few things in the world you won't know. And functionally, when necessary to know, you will pick it up. To the extent necessary. Okay, not more than that. Not more than that. To the extent that you can manage your life, you will pick it up, of course. Okay, so that is where it is. Kurya Niyamanasa, Niyata Manasa. That means what? The whole idea is keeping your focus on self-knowledge and owning up that knowledge, not losing sight of that. Not losing sight of that. Whatever you are doing in life, because life is demanding. Okay? Life is demanding. People thought in lockdown life will become less demanding. It became more demanding. You know how many people say, you don't want to work from home, you want to go back to the office. Work from home is difficult. Why? Class is also difficult. Na? There are so many home things intruding into you. No? So the camp is going to be a challenge for everyone. Okay? But that's how the world is. Yeah. Therefore, don't lose sight of. That's why you need to make a conscious decision not to lose track, not to lose sight of the goal. You should be like the eagle that soars high in the heavens, but doesn't lose track of the goal, the prey on earth, on ground. Yeah, that's how your mind should be. As far as moksha is concerned, don't lose track of that. However, wherever you soar, keep that. Yeah. Then he's giving a very, very popular, very profound verse here. Next. Yasya deve para bhaktihi yatha deve tatha guru tasyeta katita hyartaha prakashante mahatmana. Yasya, for whom? Deve para bhaktihi. That great deal of bhakti is there for the Lord. Ishvara. Yatha devi tatha guru. As to the Lord, you have the devotion to your guru as well. Tasya ete katita hi artha. For that person, this, the meaning that is being said here, okay, Tasya Mahatmanaha, for that Mahatman. Who Mahatman? The student, okay? Tasya Mahatmanaha Arthaha Prakashante. Becomes very, very clear, he says. So he gives Ishvara Bhakti and Guru Bhakti as a sadhana. Very, very interesting. If you look at my life, just to share something. I never really thought myself as a Bhakta. Because we are all exposed to conventional ideas of bhakti. It's only much later when I started doing some advanced texts in Vedanta and listened to a lot of public unfolding from Swamiji, I suddenly realized, hey, I don't have external marks of a Bhakta. That is true. That's true. Why? God gave me a forehead that nothing sticks on it. Even Vibhuti doesn't stick. Kya karu? And Lord says all these external marks are not necessary for you. But my devotion to the Lord was high. It was high. Very high. The Lord's will is Lord's will, that's it. Acceptance. Even before I came to Vedanta, I had that. Yeah. When I volunteered in the Navy and things like that, no problem. Yeah. I remember a senior telling me, you're bluffing when you say you don't have fear of death. I said, not that I want to die, but life and death is in Lord's hands, not in my hands. We do what we have to do. Life and death, the Lord will take care of it. No problems. Deve para bhakti. Later on, when I discovered the Guru in my Guru, that means when I discovered the Shishya in myself, I had the same devotion to him. Even though I would not be hanging around him all the time, as many bhaktas did, I wouldn't be hanging around. When he was singing bhajans, I would take it in small doses. But when things had to be done, it was different. Yeah, seva, yes, of course. Yeah. Even before Swamiji had expressed his full desires, I would say, Swamiji, I'll do it. Finished. Yeah. There are times when you don't even know what I want. I said, Swamiji, whatever it is, consider it done. I will carry it out. You may not have the skills. I will find the people with the skills. Not a problem. Done. To the best you can, of course. The idea is that type of a commitment takes care of a lot of your emotional issues. One big problem I find in the modern mind, including in my background, it is difficult to have an altar of surrender brought about in our Western thinking and our Western attitudes of things. It's very difficult to have an attitude of surrender. I remember seeing this video that was posted on the YouTube. This Indian boy graduates from an American university, does his masters, and the dean is handing out the certificates. They are all in their gowns and the cap and all that thing. And you can take an Indian out of India, but you cannot take India out of the Indian. So he accepts the certificate, shakes the dean's hand, and then bends down and touches his feet. And the dean is present. What are you doing? The dean is flustered. What are you doing? Because it's unheard of in that culture. Kowtowing is considered something negative. And the gay crowd has got into the act, the queers have got into the act to say that was a sign of homosexuality. My hands itch when people make such statements. It's only my discipline as a warrior that keeps me from wringing their necks. But because we have been, this is the culture we all were exposed to growing up, education, etc. Especially those of us who went through the convent schools and English medium educations. This is the culture we are exposed to. So difficult to have an altar of surrender. But if you need to grow as a person, one of the most important things is to keep my ego in check. Have a healthy self-esteem, but keep the egoistic feelings in check. And the ego cannot be checked by anything except by a sense of surrender. In the relative world, absolute knowledge will take care of it. But before you come to the knowledge, you need to have that ego under check, balanced out, curtailed a bit. And the only thing that will help you is have an altar of surrender. This is why I differ from all the experts I have read on the idea of self-esteem. And I have read some great people, Nathaniel Branden, etc. They have done phenomenal work in the field of self-esteem. But to all that, I will add this and say, you have all that will help you develop a healthy self-esteem. Yes, definitely, no doubt about it. But if you want to prevent it from becoming a pseudo self-esteem, you need to have an altar of surrender. Only when my ego is kept under check will learning and growth happen. Otherwise, experiences in life will happen. But learning and growth will happen only if my ahankara is kept under check, under a balance. So have an altar of surrender. For me personally, it started with Ishvara and this idea of the nation, my patriotic sense, surrender. I am willing to do anything for my country. And then when I met my Guru, the whole thing got transferred into the Guru as well. I mean, I met him earlier, but he became my Guru later. He was a friend, philosopher, guide for me for a few years. Then after that, when I discovered the student in me, I discovered the teacher in him, the Guru in him. And then the surrender was equally the same. Important. My ahankara. Otherwise, with all the modern liberal education I'm exposed to, this part is missing. I know that well because when I first saw people going and prostrating to Swami Chinmayanji and Swami Dayananji, I said, why? Not necessary. This is exactly my feeling. Why? Not necessary. A simple prostration, which many of us who were brought up in a little bit more traditional family, it came natural now because every elder in the family, Maji, page lagu. It's so natural. It's so natural for most people. South India, Amma, Ashirwad. It's so natural. But if you have had this strong Western influence like how I had in my upbringing, and many of us in Bombay have had that Guru Bhakti, Ishvara Bhakti seems a bit surrender, What is that? But surrender is freedom. People don't realize that. A sense of surrender is freedom. Freedom from your ahankara. Freedom to learn. Freedom to grow. Where does that freedom come? Why I am saying this is because I have a whole group of friends who will really benefit from Vedanta and they will make good students of Vedanta. Really. But they are my friends, they are my buddies. And they read voraciously everything. Now, they cannot study from me, I can understand that. Why? I'm buddy, I'm friend. They known me, met me differently through martial arts, through trekking in the Himalayas and things like that. So, we are buddies. So, I can understand that. But they know me, they respect what I am. So, should they not be able to study from my teacher, my guru? That they should be able to. But almost all of them have confessed to me that this sense of going and surrendering to a guru, difficult for them. I said, you don't know how to think of it as surrender. Think of it as learning. No, we see all the other people prostrating and all, then we can't relate to it. I said, you don't have to do it. I didn't do it for years. Why should you have to do it? No, we can't relate to that. So can you see how much that attitude, you are not comfortable with it, you don't do it. Swamiji never insisted that. I don't insist that. But others doing it also, they can't take it. Then someone from the RSS will ask, are you Indian or what? My identity does not depend upon whether I prostrate. Why are you getting so defensive, Baba? You're not comfortable with a certain cultural aspect in India. That's all. That's all that is there. That guy got bugged enough or tried to provoke you by asking a question. He tried to make you think. He didn't know how to make you think. He tried to make you think. Why are you reacting? Why are you so defensive about it? Because you know somewhere there is an iota of truth in what he is saying. There is an iota of truth. I am not saying the whole truth. Yeah, okay, you can be an Indian without a sense of surrender. Some people have not. I can't sing Vande Mataram. Vande means to salute. Vande can also mean to worship. Vande can mean to praise. Dato ho anekarthatvat. There are a lot of meanings for a dhatu. I mean, you can't do that. Then what? You want to be a global citizen? Say Vande USA? No. Then what? I like your answer. I am not mentioning it, but you all know what the answer will be. To mention is not politically correct. So sometimes I give in to political correctness. Not always, sometimes. Okay, yeah. Today I feel like giving and I gave it. So there is where the whole question comes in. The sense of surrender that I have towards Ishvara and the teacher keeps my ahankara in check. So that when a teacher is dismissive of something that I hold dear, I will not be responding out of hurt and anger. I will be responding with a learning mind. Why is my guru saying that? What made him dismiss something that I hold dear? What is the truth behind it? I have shared that story with you. How he dismissed my idea of courage, and I had this whole workshop created from fear to fearlessness. It has gone international now. I did it in the yoga festival in UK also. Online. Yeah. So, I did that. Why? Because of my sense of surrender. Not because I am a great guy. I am like any other student of Puja Swamiji. That's it. But the sense of surrender was there. So instead of responding out of anger or this thing, I could respond with learning mind. And learn why is my guru being dismissive of what I am. He knows what I am. He knows how courageous I am. He knows that nothing will faze me. He knows that. When it comes to attacks and threats, etc., I am right there in the front. Nothing will faze me. He knows that. Still, why was he dismissive? There is some learning for me. That can come only if I have a sense of surrender. Otherwise, I would respond angrily and say, what does he know? I have faced the dangers that he has not even faced. Which is true. I have faced dangers which he has not faced. But because of that, I have that sense of surrender. So I don't become egoistic and say, hey, I am great. He doesn't know. No. I say he knows. There is a purpose behind it. He has a holistic picture. Even though he has not faced my experiences, he has the big picture. The vision of the whole is there with him. And in that vision of the whole, he knows where courage fits in. Therefore, my sense of surrender made me learn. Gave me a learning mind. A growing mind. Until you can say, Chidananda Rupo Shivoham Shivoham. You can say that. Without any problem. That's why he says, this meaning, the meaning of the Shastra will become clear to one. To that Mahatma. Sureshwara calls the student a Mahatma. Why? He's a Mahatma in the making. If he has this much of bhakti to Ishvara and the Guru, the person is a Mahatma in the making. There's no female, okay? Mahatman is Mahatman, male or female. You don't say Mahatmani or something like that. Okay? Yeah. The same. Mahatmana you can say if you want at the most. Okay. Then the concluding verse he says, any questions on this or is it clear? This verse. It's a very important verse. I want you all to be clear about this. Any doubts, any questions, please shoot. All clear? Okay. Then he says, Prakashatmikaya Shaktya Prakashanam Prabhakaraha Prakashati yo Vishwam Prakashoyam Prakashatam. He's punning on the word Prakashaha. Okay. Prakashatmakiya Shaktya. By the power of making everything, bringing up everything into light, of illumining everything. Prakashanam Prabhakaraha. The light that lights up the whole, this is Prabhakaraha who lights up the whole universe, not the sun, Ishvara himself. Prakasheti yo Vishwam. Who illumines the whole universe. Ayam Prakashaha Prakashatam. May he light up this Prakashaha. Which Prakashaha? This text that I have created. This commentary that I have created. Let this commentary illumine those minds that are seeking the truth. What a beautiful statement. Our minds are seeking pure consciousness. It is a consciousness that makes all knowledge possible. But my mind is shrouded in ignorance. I cannot know that. Even though consciousness is self-evident, I don't know the nature of that consciousness. Therefore, it is Vedanta that throws light on it. Throws light on who you are, not what you are. What you are is self-evident. It throws light on who you are. So he's invoking, at the end of the Shastra, he's invoking the grace of the Ishvara that let this text help people understand you well. Let this work throw light on the source of all lights. What a beautiful way of putting it. Let this light, the light of knowledge, illumine the source of all illumination in the world. Why? It's not the problem of the Atma, it's the problem of my mind, the ignorance in my mind. For that I need Vrittik Jnanam, Jnanam that is manifest in a thought. So that, let it happen, he says. Let this work illumine the minds of people. And believe me, anyone who studies this well, there is no way they are not going to gain the truth. So beautifully said. Cannot be a better book than this. So with this, he says, okay, Iti Sri Dakshinamurti Stotrartha Pratipadike. Thus, the Dakshinamurti Stotra Artha Pratipadike, the work that is revealing the meaning of Dakshinamurti Stotram, Prabandhe Manasolase, which is composed as Manasolasaha, Dasha Mulaka Sangraha. The 10th verse is also commented upon. Iti Srimad Shankara Bhagavad Padacharya Krita Dakshinamurti Stotra Bhavartha Vartika Suresha Acharya Kritam Samaptam. With this he says, Bhagavad Pada Krita, Bhagavad Pada Acharya Krita, that which has been made by Bhagavad Pada Shankara, okay, Srimad Shankara Bhagavad Pada Acharya, Dakshinamurti Stotra, that Bhavartha Vartikaha. The Vartika is meant to bring out the Bhava of the original. Dakshinamurti Stotra Bhavartha Vartikam Sureshwara Acharya Kritam. It is made by Sureshwara Acharya, Shankara's direct student. Samaptam. With that it comes to an end. Any questions or clarifications on what we have done up to now? Shoot, we still have a few minutes. Any questions, any clarifications? The question will be what next? Some of you have given your suggestions. Okay. I think for a few months anyway, it is going to be online only until either a vaccine is discovered or a cure is discovered or the virus is losing its potency, as I have already observed in the society. It's already losing its potency. That 88% of the new cases are completely asymptomatic. 10% can be treated at home. Only 2% require hospitalization. With that much coming in, it's already losing its strength. Probably in the coming months it will lose its strength even more. So at least for a couple of months we'll have to keep it online. After that we will see where and when to meet. Yeah. It depends on the situation. We'll take the call as and when it comes. So what text to do also, we'll take a call.